Couple of coaching notes today. Rockford Lutheran sent out a statement yesterday that the former Hononegah head coach Tim Sughroue will be an assistant coach. We had heard that was happening, but it wasn't definite. They made it definite yesterday. And they gave Don Gillingham, the executive director of Rockford Lutheran, gave a couple of statements, as did Coach Sughroue. And it's an interesting situation. That just gives them another experienced coach over there. But if you read what they did, it's pretty important. But I know that there have been some people critical of it, but there's always going to be stuff critical out there.
Yeah, you know, from a football standpoint, it makes complete sense. I mean, you're getting a guy that's been a head coach for a long time that was very good. You know, he's going to bring some different things to that program that's been building and been getting better. You know, so from a football standpoint, it makes 100% sense if you got the opportunity to do something like that. You know, from a PR standpoint, you know, it's interesting. You know, obviously a lot of people know what the background was with that and kind of what went on there with Coach Sughroue and why he's not at Hononegah anymore. So it's interesting to say the least, and you know, but I'm sure that Lutheran did their due diligence, did their homework, and
yeah, they did.
And we're prepared for what was probably going to come when they made this announcement. And you know, like most things like this, what's probably going to happen is it's going to all the hoopla about it will die down here after a few weeks, and everybody will just be able to get to football. And as long as you know he's rehabilitated and you know not going to have any more issues going forward, then you know I don't think it'll be an issue, you know, beyond you know what we're going to have right now. And you know I'm sure he's going to bring some good things to that program.
I know that they went through a lot of the process. They wanted to make sure that everything was clear with the courts, and they made some, you know, waited till all the final decisions were made before they did that. I also understand that Coach Sughroue is back teaching, or he's been reinstated because of the situation at Hononegah.
Sure.
So that's another thing. But that when I put that up on the hub yesterday, that got a lot of people were looking at it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things in life, and you know, sometimes we all need a second chance to prove that we all screw up once in a while. We all do that.
No problem with it ultimately in the long run. Like I said, you know, you just hope that there's not going to be any kind of issues like that going forward. And, you know, it's understandable why Hononegah didn't bring him back. I think that made sense, you know, just, you know, probably not worth what that was going to be if you bring him back to be the head guy. But, hey, you know, to be an assistant at Lutheran and, you know, still get a chance to work with kids, do what he honestly does best and coach football. You know, I think it's going to be a good thing in the long run.
And everybody's been upfront about it. It's not, you know, it's not like everybody has secrets behind it, because they went through the process. They said, we're not going to release information to anybody until they had it straightened out. But they did release it. That's the main thing.
Well, and if they released it, because I tell you, they could have just done it, and it could have been one of those things that honestly, you know, a lot of people probably wouldn't have known until football season when you're at the first game.
And you go, wow, look who's out there.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, wow, what's he doing down there?
That would have been bad.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been real bad.
So, I mean, if they released it, they knew what was going on. And like I said, I'm sure they did their due diligence, you know, and they're not going to bring somebody in there that's going to be a problem. You know, if they didn't think, you know, things were going to be okay, they wouldn't have brought him in to begin with. So, you know, I do trust that the things will be fine. Like I said, from a football standpoint, it makes complete sense. I think he's going to bring a lot of good things to that program. You know, the one thing you could always say about Hononegah football teams is they were going to be tough. You know, very physically tough. And I know that's something Lutheran's been working on, is trying to get a little bit more physical and things like that. You know, so it's a good coach to bring in who I think is going to, you know, supplement very well a lot of the things that Lutheran is already doing.
And there's no secret in high school sports, because
not anymore.
No, everybody knows that it's on Twitter or Facebook or whatever before that, and so you just can't. You know, you're better just to let it
get it out there. Yep.
And I always talk to people. I say, hey, it's better for you to be in charge of the situation than us, the media, to be in charge of it. Because a lot of people, when they find out that's a true thing, they go right after it. So you got to be a little careful.
Well, and again, you can look at it one of two ways. You know, people are I'm sure there's gonna be people out there, you know, upset about it right now and making their comments and things like that. But would you rather that happen right now in June, or would you rather that happen in, you know, the end of August, beginning of September, when you're starting your football season and trying to get through, and all of a sudden people are throwing fits? You know, maybe guys like us are asking the coaching staff or players about, you know, what's it like having him on there and those kind of things, and causing a distraction during the football season. Because like I said, by the time you get there, as long as there's no issues between now and then, and by the time you get to football season, now that you've announced it now, people are going to forget about it, honestly.
Yeah, especially when you do it up front like that.
Yeah.
And you tell the reasons why you did it.
Yep.
You don't say, well, it's none of your business. That really gets them fired up.
Oh,
And I know I've told coaches, I said, hey, when you guys get ready to tell me, I don't care if I get it first. Just let me know when you do it.
Right.
I don't like to be surprised myself and read about it, some other guy putting it out there. And say, yeah. So, and you always got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're the ones running their programs.
Exactly.
So, and then another one, a big coaching decision at Boylan. And she was a year behind you, Aminatta Yanni.
Yep.
And she was a all-time great at Harlem.
Oh, yeah.
She did about everything.
In the area.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back on her, she's probably the Fred VanVleet of girls basketball
in a lot of
area.
ways. Yeah, I mean, she was a great player. I mean, you're talking about a player who made some All-American teams and things like that.
She played an All-American game and scored a lot of.
Exactly.
And she's going to be a sophomore assistant in Boylan. But Coach Paul Peroni, who was her coach at Harlem, is going to use her for anything he can if she wants to do it.
Well, and anytime you can get that kind of player around your program, I mean, it's just. It's an awesome thing to have. I mean, that's somebody that has, we talked about, played in Europe, made a lot of money, was kind of been around the pro game a long time, was a very good player in college, and obviously in high school was just a great player. As good as you're going to find around here, could score at will, was a pretty good shot blocker and things like that.
She scored 47 points against Auburn in her last regular season game. That's still a single game record over at Harlem.
Yep.
I think that Paul Peroni just said, okay, this is your night. You go out and do whatever you want, and I think she did.
And that's probably what happened because the thing was, at that time, they had pretty good teams at Harlem. It wasn't like it was a one-girl show there with Aminatta Yanni. Being the only one doing things. Now, obviously, she made a difference between that being a pretty good team and being a great team. But they had a pretty good team. So, yeah, to score 47 in a game, it says a lot about...
25 of 31, Matt. She was the leading scorer. 19 of 31, she was the leading rebounder.
Yeah.
And there was always double-doubles when she did that.
Yep. But it says a lot about her, how the teammates and coaches felt about her, but also how good she was. I mean, she was a very good player who could really do whatever she wanted to on the court.
She's just been back in the area about 2 years away, I understand. And I'm sure I saw her at their one of their tournament games or games show up.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure it's one of those things that, she's, again, was probably been around the program. Coach probably said, hey, you mind coming down to practice, So, so I'm sure, so now it's more of just an official thing is, hey, why don't you just be one of the coaches here? And
yeah, we're trying. I tried to get her on this week, but it's hard to find people during the summer.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get her on and just talk basketball because when you look at them, I got a picture on the hub of their banner.
Yep.
The last two times that they won the championship, the Nick 9 at that time, was when she was there.
Yeah.
The last time they won a sectional, she was there.
Yep.
They won some regionals after her, but she had a lot to do with all that stuff.
Yeah.
She was like 3-time Nick 10 Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in the same class around the country as Diana Taurasi, who we all know, big Olympic star, 4th time in the Olympics. So she was very competitive. She was on the second team All-American. She was on all the All-American teams.
Oh, yeah, all of them.
And you know how hard that is for a Rockford kid to do that in the area.
Yeah.
If she was Chicago, it would have helped her a whole bunch.
Yeah, exactly.
And she was 3rd in Miss Illinois.
Oh, and that's what I was just about to say. Yeah, she was 3rd Miss Illinois, All-American, but, only 3rd in Miss Illinois. And, there was a couple other pretty good players, though, I think, around the state at that time. But, the
girl was from Marshall that beat her out, and then a girl from the Class A. That's when they had 2 classes back when they played. So.
Yeah, but very impressive player and did a lot of great things. And, very fondly remembered over at Harlem, I can tell you that.
And the year they didn't win their senior year, they didn't win the Nick 10. They lost like 2 games.
Yep.
Hononegah lost 1 game and won it. Randy Weibel was there. So that tells you a little bit about that program, too, that if they were able to handle her, because her senior year was really probably her best year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I don't know how much they handled her, but, again, they were a pretty good team that year. I know. It was a year after I graduated, but I also know that they were the year before outside of Yanni. They were a pretty senior-heavy team, so they would have been replacing a lot that next year.
If you check the story out and you want to find more, there's a couple of links on there. You can find out her whole senior season because it was on the IHSA site because they made it when they had 16. Did 16 used to go down when they do A and AA?
Was it? I thought it was eight.
Eight would go down, but they counted super sectionals as part of the state tournament.
You had 16 altogether between the two classes,
And that's why, and you could see every game that she played in as a senior. You can see the scores. And I'll tell you what, IHSA does a good job on that stuff.
Yeah.
I will pat them on the back for that.
Yeah.
But, man, when you look at her, she's like the Eppinger guy from Jefferson, one of those type of players where she was outstanding. And I think from what I've heard and seen, she probably got a little burned out from basketball for a while, needed some time to clear her head. That's why she's moved back here. And because she even said, I think it was on TVO, she said, well, you know what, I wanted to have my head into this before I got started.
Right. Well, I
give her credit. I give her credit for trying.
Probably makes sense, get home, decompress, get away from the game a little bit, and then, get refreshed and then come back and go at it.
Yeah, move back to beautiful McChesney Park.
That's right.